The thought alone sends shivers through the halls of Buckingham Palace, King Harry and Queen Meghan. It sounds like a headline from a nightmare, but for King Charles, it is a very real and terrifying fear. One wrong move, one tragic flight, and the crown could fall directly into the hands of the very couple who so publicly walked away from it. The issue that has sparked King Charles's rage isn't new. It has been brewing for years. It's those royal helicopters that Prince William loves so much. Inside the palace, they are known as the Flying Nightmare. Every single time William loads Kate and the children on board for a flight, senior courtiers tense up. They call it the one royal habit that could change history overnight. Before we dive into the explosive details of the feud between the king and his heir, it would mean the world to us here at the Ruby Report if you would hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications, because this story of a monarchy on the edge is one you won't want to miss. King Charles has begged his son repeatedly to stop flying with his whole family together. Not once, not twice, but dozens of times. His warning is simple and chilling. If anything goes wrong, the entire direct line of succession could be wiped out in a matter of seconds. And for Charles, this isn't just a paranoid fear, it's the specter of history repeating itself. The royal family has lived through devastating aviation tragedies before, and the king knows just how quickly disaster can strike from the skies. Earlier this year, things reportedly came to a head after another family helicopter trip. Charles, having had enough, demanded that William sign a written statement acknowledging the immense risks he was taking. The king's aide, Sir Mike Stevens, had to deliver the official request personally. The moment William read it, his face turned cold. His response was sharp, dismissive, and enough for Sir Mike to report back to the king that the prince was not amused. That single act of defiance sent the king over the edge. For Charles, this wasn't just about a flight. It was about loyalty, it was about duty, and it was about protecting the very future of the crown. And in his mind, William's arrogance has now made the unthinkable, a King Harry and Queen Meghan scenario, dangerously and terrifyingly real. When the confrontation finally happened, it wasn't a polite disagreement, it was a full-blown royal meltdown. According to palace insiders, King Charles exploded after hearing that William had once again ignored his warnings. He confronted his son face-to-face, and the room reportedly turned ice cold. Courtiers say the king's voice shook with rage as he demanded to know why William refused to even acknowledge the risks he was taking with the monarchy's future. But William didn't flinch. He fired back, accusing his father of overreacting and living in constant fear. To Charles, that response was a dagger to the heart. This wasn't just about safety anymore, it was about respect. The king, who has spent decades meticulously preparing his eldest son for the throne, suddenly realized that William no longer listens to him. Witnesses say it was one of those rare moments when the polished royal mask completely slipped. Charles slammed his hand down on the desk and told William he was acting like a man who has forgotten what it means to be the heir to the throne. William, red-faced with anger, reportedly told his father that he is not a child to be lectured by a paranoid monarch. That line, sources say, left King Charles silent but seething. He is not used to open defiance, especially not from his own heir. And behind the scenes, the palace hasn't been the same since. Staffers now whisper that the tension between the two most powerful men in the monarchy has reached a dangerous and potentially irreparable level. What should have been a private warning turned into a battle of egos, and the monarchy itself might be the real casualty. Within the ancient walls of the palace, they call it the unthinkable. A single crash, a moment of unforeseen tragedy, and suddenly Great Britain is left staring at the one headline every royal fears: King Harry and Queen Meghan. That is the image that is haunting King Charles. The idea that one misjudged helicopter trip could hand the throne to the very couple who abandoned their duties and trashed the family on their way out. To him, it's not just a scary thought, it's a waking nightmare. Royal insiders say that Charles mutters about it during his private moments, pacing his study and repeating the same phrase over and over. Can you imagine that circus? And his fear is not without reason. If William, Kate, and all of their children were lost in a single accident, Prince Harry would become the next in line to the throne automatically. There would be no debate and no delay. The law of succession would make it so. And with Harry comes Meghan, the woman the palace still views as a rebel queen in waiting. Some courtiers reportedly joke darkly about the Markle monarchy, but no one is really laughing. Charles genuinely believes that if such a tragedy were to ever occur, it wouldn't just shake the monarchy, it would end it. He believes that Meghan, with her Hollywood polish and her headline-generating power, would transform Buckingham Palace from a revered institution into a global media spectacle. Even those who are fiercely loyal to William privately admit that his habit of flying the whole family together is a terrifying and unnecessary risk. Because if fate plays its cruelest card, the crown might land in the hands that the establishment would rather see anywhere but on the throne. But the tension between Charles and William didn't just start with the helicopters. It has been simmering for years, and the coronation was the spark that reignited the feud. The day that was supposed to represent unity and strength for the monarchy became a quiet humiliation for the new king. William, the golden heir, reportedly arrived late to his own father's coronation, blaming his tardiness on a last-minute social media video he had been filming. Charles, who had spent months perfecting every single detail of the historic ceremony, was livid. He saw it as deeply disrespectful, a future monarch prioritizing social media clicks over the crown. But he swallowed his anger, hiding it behind a stiff and formal smile for the cameras. And it didn't end there. Charles also wanted William to wear full ceremonial garments, including the traditional kilt, for parts of the Scottish service to honor their deep connection to the country. William flatly refused. He reportedly hates the kilt, has always hated it, and didn't care what it symbolized. It was only after intense persuasion from senior aides that he reluctantly agreed to wear the formal attire, a move that the king took as his son showing him pity, not compromise. To Charles, this wasn't a son showing independence, it was an heir actively undermining royal heritage. The king reportedly told his aides, "He doesn't understand that tradition is power." Since that day, insiders say their relationship has never fully recovered. What should have been a moment of generational unity instead exposed a silent rift, one that is only widening with every passing scandal. Behind the palace walls, Charles's fury turned icy. He wasn't screaming anymore, he was calculating. When the king goes quiet, insiders know that it is far worse than when he yells. Sources close to Clarence House said that Charles started canceling meetings just to avoid snapping at William again. Instead, he began discussing contingency plans, grim ones. Courtiers overheard talk about Operation Continuity, a secret draft plan that would shift primary royal duties to Princess and Prince Edward if tragedy were to ever strike the Wales family. This wasn't paranoia, it was pure terror wrapped in the language of royal protocol. Charles even ordered new safety briefings for his staff, forcing palace aides to simulate what would happen in the immediate aftermath of a helicopter crash. The results were chilling. It would take less than 6 hours for Harry to be declared the heir presumptive. That image of Harry and Meghan back on the Buckingham Palace balcony haunted the king's sleep. He reportedly told a confidant, "One flight and everything changes." But William, he brushed it off again, saying his family deserved to live like normal parents. To Charles, that wasn't bravery. It was a betrayal, a reckless gamble that could undo everything the monarchy stands for. While the men clashed, Kate was stuck in the middle, terrified but trapped. Behind her calm and collected public smile, the Princess of Wales was reportedly suffering sleepless nights over the helicopter issue. She trusts William's judgment as a pilot, but she knows that Charles isn't just being dramatic. One wrong move in the sky, and her entire world, her entire family, could vanish in an instant. Friends say Kate has quietly tried to persuade William to compromise, suggesting they travel separately sometimes, just to ease the tensions with his father. But William's pride is legendary. He hates being told what to do, one royal aide whispered, especially by his father. Kate's private pleas have only made him dig his heels in deeper. At one point, she allegedly confided in her mother, Carol Middleton, saying she felt torn between two kings, her husband and her father-in-law. That immense pressure has started to show. Insiders have noticed her growing anxiety before recent public events, especially when helicopters are involved. She smiles for the cameras, but her knuckles turn white when she steps aboard the aircraft. She is the peacekeeper, caught between a paranoid king's fear and a proud prince's ego. And deep down, she knows that if anything were to go wrong, the monarchy's survival would rest on the worst possible replacement, Prince Harry. At this point, the tension has reached a fever pitch. Royal staff describe the atmosphere as combustible. Every time the whale's family plans a trip, aides scramble behind the scenes, updating emergency protocols as if they are preparing for doomsday. This isn't just a father-son disagreement anymore. It's a battle for control of the monarchy. And while the public sees smiles and handshakes, the truth behind those palace walls is chaos, resentment, and fear. The kind of fear that could decide who wears the crown next or who loses it forever. So buckle up, because if this royal feud explodes any further, it won't just be a family fallout, it will be the beginning of the monarchy's next major crisis. And this time, even the crown might not survive the crash.